Nonfiction books. We're going to talk about 3 of the nonfiction books we've read recently. Cats, Giant Pandas, and Think of an Eel. You know, when you talk about the books that you've read, and when you think about the books that you've read, the nonfiction books, you're more likely to remember the new information. That's the best part of reading a nonfiction book, the things that stick out that you didn't know before. So here's Cats. Seymour Simon was the author. This book I particularly liked it because I like my cats. First, the book talked about that they are hunting animals. They use claws and teeth. They're fun to watch. Then it describes them. I guess if they're going to hunt, they need to be described. They're not very big. They're bendable, they're climbers, they're jumpers, and it had pictures to show, to demonstrate what the book was saying. Then they talk about the cat's features and its senses. It can see in the dark, they can see in color, and then the next sense they talk about is they have a good sense of hearing, whiskers, their sense of touch. So we talked about this author, Mr. Simon, gave us the information about the cat's senses and how they sense the world. Touch. They talk. Mine kept coming into me this morning and going, meow, 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 meow. I thought we couldn't figure out what he wanted, and we realized he just wanted to lie down. So he found himself a spot and he lay down. Body language, how cats use body language. And then they talk about how the cats regenerate, not regenerate, but how they reproduce. Well, let's go to a few of the pages here and read. I'm going to reread these. Cats are not very big. Adults usually weigh between 6 and 15 pounds. Cats have slim and flexible bodies. They can twist their bodies in amazing ways. The bones in a cat's back are much more loosely connected than the bones in your back. This makes a cat's body very bendable. See how they show the illustration. Cats are great climbers and jumpers. They also use their tails for balance. When a cat jumps, its body uncoils like a spring. A cat absorbs the landing shock easily with its front legs and the cushioning pads on its front paws. When a cat falls several feet, it twists its body in midair and lands on all fours, usually without hurting itself. This may be why people sometimes say a cat has 9 lives. So, what new information did you gain from that page? Let's go on and see if we can get a little bit more. Some people think cats can see in the dark. Cats have excellent vision, but they can't see in total darkness. They can see in light that is only 1/6 as bright as light humans need for seeing. Gee, I thought that they could see really well in the dark, and I thought that's what made them nocturnal. Cats have a special mirror-like surface on the back of the eye called the tapetum. Never knew about the tapetum. Faint light passes through the eye and then is reflected by the tapetum back out of the eye. The reflected light is what makes cats' eyes gleam in the dark and helps them see better at night. I just thought their eyes did that just because they were eyes. But then to think of it, when I look at a human's eyes, I don't see that. Cats can see in color, but it doesn't mean much to an animal that hunts at night. Color plays no part in hunting a mouse in dim light or in deciding to muzzle against your red shirt, rather than your blue one. And here, I thought cats knew about colors. Cats also have a good sense of hearing. They can hear sounds that are too soft or too high-pitched for humans to hear. A cat turns its ears very quickly to locate the direction of a sound. Hearing helps cats hunt for mice and other little animals when they move about. Ooh. Well, you know, I didn't realize that when my cat's ears go like this, I'll go, Kurt, and he'll go, I didn't realize that he was turning his ears in the direction of my voice. So here, some of the new things we learned. Cats can see well, but they can't see in the dark. And here, I thought all along they saw in the dark. They can see in color. Okay. Cats can turn their ears in the direction of a sound. So those were some of the few things that we learned. I bet you could pick out a lot more if we were reading it. Another book was Gail Gibbons's Giant Pandas. She's another great nonfiction writer. Author, Gail Gibbons. Title, Giant Pandas. Okay. So she says pandas have, let's go to page 9. Let's read a couple pages and see what we've got here. Giant pandas have poor eyesight, but they have excellent senses of smell and hearing. In fact, pandas are hard to find in the wild because they can hide when they smell or hear people coming. See, with human beings, our sense of sight is the most predominant sense. We use our sight not to the exclusion of others, but we really use our sight primarily. Now, if a person is blind and they don't have their sight to use, their sense of hearing and their sense of touch can be developed more than they develop those senses more than we do because they don't have their sight to rely on. So normally giant pandas are shy and tend to stay by themselves. When they want to communicate with one another, they use about 11 different kinds of sounds. They bark, growl, squeal, and make other sounds to mean different things. Well, I talked about the sounds. Cats make different sounds. And you know, when the dog, I trust that you've read through the read aloud of the dog books. The dog book by Seymour Simon. It was interesting to learn that dogs don't have very good eyesight either. I didn't know that. That was another thing I didn't know. So another thing that I learned in the book, I thought that the only thing pandas ate was bamboo. But they didn't. They eat other things besides bamboo. I guess that rounds out their diet. And it says normally pandas are shy. You wouldn't expect a large animal like this to be shy, but they are pretty cuddly, aren't they? They do look like they're harmless, but you wouldn't want to walk up to a grizzly bear because you know any wildlife animal is definitely not harmless. Giant pandas communicate by leaving their scent to tell other pandas they are in the area. This was something new to me. I know that the cats and the dogs will rub against you to leave their scent, but the panda does something different. They rub a smelly liquid from glands under their tails onto rocks or trees. And here was our last book, Think of an Eel. It's really important to think about what you learned about a topic after you read. Well, let's take a look at Think of an Eel. Some of the things that were interesting to me, well, seagulls. Seagulls eat eels. I didn't think anything except a big sea animal ate eels. I mean, that didn't, but to think that they can spot them in the water and fly down, stick their nose in there and grab an eel up. That was fascinating to me. And eels, we also read about what they are like. First of all, when they're young, you can see right through them. And that was also really interesting to me, and new information that they traveled so far. How they navigate by instinct. Nobody showed them the way. They didn't have a travel agent. They can go up rapids and climb up falls. There was something else that was very interesting to me, and I'm looking for it right now, but their teeth. Their teeth look, the teeth in their mouth looked like it was a saw. I thought that was pretty cool. There they are. There's the saw. See their teeth up close? Another thing that was interesting was that the baby eels are born in the spring. So they're babies, and then they travel all the way to Europe, and it takes them about 6 months, and then they turn around and come home to die. And when they die, they leave their eggs. So here are some of the things we learned that this was new, really new to me. Seagulls eat eels. Eels have teeth that look like a saw. And the baby eels are always born in the spring. That's not the same way it is for all animals. Some animals can be born at other times of the year too, but a number of species are only born during certain times of the year. If you want to go back, if you're interested more in eels or pandas or frogs or penguins or any of the animals that we read, or dogs, please go back and look at the read-alouds. And I'll be putting more up too by some of these great authors, and some about bugs. I love to learn about bugs. Didn't know that until I did it. I did not know that bugs were animals at first. When I was a little girl, I thought that bugs were just bugs. I didn't realize they were in the animal kingdom. Have a good day.